and that was it. So, yeah, you have to.
You had a
the
full
dedication.
scholarship?
Yeah, I did.
That's big.
I did.
That's discipline and dedication.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, especially being a student athlete. That shit tough.
I can imagine.
That was tough.
I wasn't even a student athlete in school. Was tough for that semester.
Were you like the class clown too?
No, I've never been the class clown. I've
I
always.
would say most comedians.
I'm not that guy. Like, I'm not a barbershop comedian. I'm not the class clown that's like, hey, everybody, look at me. I am, while that dude is doing all of that, I'm making y'all laugh over here. You know what I mean? I'm watching.
Just conversation, bro. Just regular conversation.
I'm not really that dude. So it's like, when I started doing comedy, my family was shocked. Like, my sister and my mom weren't, but like my family, they were like, what? He talk? I'm like,
That nigga
I
ain't
was
funny.
always talking.
Right, he ain't funny.
I had no reason to talk.
Yeah.
And so it was one of those where it was like, I am such a great observer. The way my comedy is like, you had no idea I was thinking this while I was sitting back there being quiet. So yeah.
She said something a little minute ago about passion and actors and everything going to school. That's what we expect.
Yeah.
I always say, I'm gonna ask you this because last comedians we always ask. They take comedy as a craft, an art form.
Absolutely.
Especially stand up.
Yeah.
A lot of people now, I don't know if they view it as such, because we have a lot of different influencers who are trying to get into that space because they think that is the realm to take in order to go to the next big step. Coming from a seasoned vet, professional, how do you feel about that?
About which aspect? People coming from the internet?
People come from the internet, how serious individuals take it. Does it translate just as well?
Well, here's the thing, man. I look at comedy like this. Everything evolves. And the internet people that are funny, when I started comedy, there was a pecking order. There were older comedians that told you these are the do's and don'ts of comedy. Like, I got up there and like my first couple of shows, I started doing Kool-Aid jokes. Like, I was Kool-Aid. I was like, I would do them in front of him. And he was like, hey man, you did my jokes. I'm like, right? And he was like, no, man, you can't do that. You got to do this, and you got to be yourself. And I was like, oh, okay. And you learn that way. So with comedians now that come from the internet, they don't know. And nobody's telling them. And respectfully, nobody who has 1 million or 2 million followers is going to listen to a guy that has 5 followers tell them about a craft. When they think, I'm already famous, I know what I'm doing. So I get both sides, but the smart ones ask people questions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there are some people who come from the internet that will see a comedian just be funny and be like, can you teach me? Or can I learn from you? That's humility on both sides.
Has anyone done that for you? To you?
Well, I started early enough to where I seen all of the internet stuff come. So I'm humble enough to go talk to an internet guy.
That's nice.
And be like, hey man, you're funny. I think you should do this and that. Or maybe you don't listen to me, whatever you want, but I just want to give you that and then form a relationship. Then to be like, I know what real comedy is and you don't, but you selling 3,000 tickets and I'm not selling that many. So good luck. You know what I mean? Like, I'm humble enough to have a conversation with somebody, but at the same time, I will still go to a veteran comedian who's done more than me and ask them questions. You know what I mean?
Can you get an example? Like somebody might have, did someone you asked and they gave you like something that really stuck with you?
Oh yeah. Rodney Perry is the first comedian that comes to my mind.
Okay, I know
Rodney Perry told me, if you stay out here long enough, you're gonna get something.
Just that.
I was like, oh man. And he was like, it don't cost nothing to be nice to somebody. And the best advice can come from people that you don't even think are funny. And I was like, all right. And I started seeing some trash comedians and they would give me tips and I was like, that actually works. You know what I mean? So just being humble enough to take in other people's opinions that could help you.
Okay, that's solid.
Yeah,
that's very solid. You are a great writer.
Thank you.
For yourself.
Appreciate that.
And for others.
Absolutely.
But how did you transition into that? Did you think you could do that? Like, I can write. I think I can write a little bit. But I know it's tougher trying to write comedy, especially for others to be able to say. Because you kind of, have to know what works or what, it's just individual, what's funny, things of that magnitude.
You know what's crazy about that? I just did this for a comedian last night. She was doing her set, veteran comedian, and I told her some things she should switch around and add and talk about, and it all worked. And you know why that is because I'm a great listener. Like I'm not when I'm coming from like going to writing, I'm not coming like I know this and I know that. I'm listening to how you speak or how you deliver your material, and I'm coming at you from an audience standpoint. So it's like, you know what I would like to hear from you as an audience member? I want to hear about you talk about your son, or I want to hear about you talking about dating. And what's a heartbreak? What's something that makes you laugh? Like that stuff is something as an audience member I want to hear compared to, I don't want to hear you talk about politics. I don't want to hear your opinion on TV stands. You know what I mean? It's like, I want to hear about you. So I kind of apply that with every comedian I've ever worked with from a writing standpoint and just try to help accentuate their thoughts instead of pushing my own thoughts on them. So when I focus on myself, it's different. But when it's them, it's so much of a different muscle because comedians get in their head a lot. And I've always felt like a hybrid. I'm a comedian, but I'm also a creative in the standpoint of I can see other angles than just my own perspective.
And is that the same when you with writing shows as well?
Oh yeah, when you're writing a show, you're into a specific format that is somebody else's vision. So they're telling you, "Hey, this is what the show is.
Yeah,
this is what we're doing," and you're like, "Okay, in this universe, here's some ideas," and some of them go through, some of them don't. But you're servicing with a team. Whereas when you're doing comedy and you're writing for somebody, you're dealing with that person's ego and thought. So your ego is different than Brandon's, and his is different than hers. So it's like, I can work with all three of you guys separately and effectively as long as I remove my own ego. As long as you remove your own ego, you can work with anybody.
When did you first break into show writing? I know you said you always wanted to work with Bentley, and you did that.
Yeah.
How did that? How did
For
that
seasons.
Yeah.
Nico, you better ask.
My first one
Season,
actually was 2008. My first show that I booked that was a scripted show was Mike Epps' Funny Business. This was my first audition. And I went in to read, and Mike Epps was there. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know he was going to be here.
Yeah.
And we start improvising back and forth. Benny Richburg was the showrunner for that. Benny Richburg worked on Martin and Fresh Prince and also the Jamie Foxx show and Cuts and so many other shows.
Yeah.
And Benny was like, hey, man, you funny. I was like, thank you, man. He's like, yeah, we want to have you. It's going to be like a little in living color thing. I was like, dope. And he was like, yeah, you want to write? And I was like, I don't know how to write. And he was like, I'll teach you. And I was like, okay.
Bet.
But
What?
I also still want to be on camera. He was like, yeah, but you're going to make more money over here. I'm like, I don't really care about the money. I want to be on TV. So he was like, you can do both. And I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
I'm so wet behind the ears. And we had a writer's assistant, and he taught me how to write in a notebook and give it to the writer's assistant, and she would type everything up and perfectly format it. But I was like, I need to know how to do this. And I bought Final Draft, and I start learning how to do it. And then, oh, you're going to love this. So after that show didn't get picked up because one of the executives, this is why I didn't get picked up. One of the executives slept with someone at Comedy Central's wife.
Oh, shit.
And they were like, no to the
It's
show.
over.
And I'm like, oh my God, this is about to be
crazy.
my on moment. Right?
Yeah.
Anyway, a season later, like a year later, me and Robin Thede, who Black Lady Sketch Show, shout out to her for all her success.
Yeah.
She and I got hired by the similar producers of that show to write this other show called Clunkers. It was Carl Anthony Payne, David Faustino, Sherman Hemsley, rest in peace, and she and myself. We did that, but I'm just, we're writing, but I don't know if this is the format I'm supposed to be doing because nobody's told me this is right or wrong. Fast forward, I meet this young lady who's a casting agent. She's trying to be a casting agent.
Yeah.
And she starts working on a show for Bentley. I told her, I'm like, yo, I need to meet Bentley. This has been my dream. I need to just meet him. Can I come to the set? Oh, well, it's really,
yeah.
he don't really have people on set like that.
Oh, stop
So,
gatekeeping.
I mean, if you get called in, then maybe if you book it, you can meet him. But and I was like, man, she's really gatekeeping. So fast forward, Tangerine, my lady, ends up booking a show
Yep.
with Bentley. and she knew that I wanted to meet Bentley, and she was like, "Oh, come to the set. I'll introduce you."
That easy.
And I was like, "I don't really want to meet him as your man. I want to meet him as a writer." So she invited me and BT. So now this looks like just my friends.